What is good, y'all? Michael or Sue back with another video. Joined again today by my sister. And today it's kind of a really windy, really cold, gloomy,
Rather blustery day.
dismal day in Washington, D.C.
Dismal.
Yeah, it's kind of dismal. So I figured today what I was going to do is do some street photos for y'all. Give y'all like 3 tips about street photography, even though I'm not the best street photographer. So I'm going to have to throw y'all in the GoPro mode because I don't want the Rode mic to get like soaked. And also I want to look more discreet when I'm taking photos of strangers on the street. So I'm going to take the Gorilla Pod off, microphone off, and throw y'all in the GoPro mode now. Hello? Hello? I think that's good. What's up, y'all? It's the next day. It got like super rainy and super cold and windy. So instead of staying out to shoot street photos, we decided to go inside to where'd we go? We went to the National, what was it?
The museum?
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot which one it was though.
American history.
That's the American History Museum, so we could avoid the rain because we had an umbrella and like one layer each. So it was kind of hard to walk around in those conditions, especially with the camera.
I think I had two.
Okay, well, I had one. You had two because you're more prepared than me. I choose fashion over function. She chooses function over fashion, which is the smart thing to do. Today we are at the National Arboretum. We're not inside yet, and it looks kind of janky because everything's still dead.
That's so mean.
I'm not being mean. It's just we're not in the park yet, so I don't know what it looks like inside. We'll figure it out when we go in there, and then after this, we're headed to...
Oh, Union Station.
We're headed to Union Station after this, which is a train station?
Yep.
Okay. But, yeah, apparently there's lots of stuff to do there. And it's big and cool. I don't know, I've never been. Yeah, we're gonna head inside now. I also forgot to say that I'm going to be shooting on the 85mm today instead of the 24-70. I just really wanted to have everything a lot tighter and more cropped in. And I just like how everything stacks on an 85. So I'm going to be using that instead of the 24-70, which also means I can't record any more vlogging segments or B-roll because I'm going to leave the bag in the car because I don't want any security like issues. I just don't want to like open it up every single time. So I'm going to throw y'all on the GoPro now. What's good, y'all? It's about 2 weeks after I filmed all this footage. Yeah, I didn't really know the format of how I'm doing this video because I took the mic off the camera, so I couldn't really talk to it or give you the tips back when I was actually shooting the street photos, just because I was trying to be discreet. So future me is going to be voicing over and giving you the tips that I promised I would give you in this video. Sorry it's taken so long, but we're just going to cut straight to it with tip number 1. And tip number 1 is nobody cares. I know that this is probably the hardest part of street photography, just getting across that mental barrier that people aren't going to like what you're doing. I'm going to cut to voiceover now. So you can see here, this girl in the red dress. This is like an example of when they don't notice you. After this shot, actually, I had someone approach me and ask if I was with her because they saw me taking pictures of her, and I got really awkward and just said I wasn't taking a picture of her, but they followed me on Instagram, so they probably saw me post it. So yeah, I was taking a picture of her. Another example is right here, this cab driver. He looked straight at me, gave me a confused look. I just moved on. So 99% of the time, no one's going to care that you're taking a photo of them. They'll just be really confused. I've never had anyone get violent with me. I don't know what to say if someone gets violent with you, because yeah, it's never happened to me. If they get violent with you, just walk away, walk into a public space, or if you're feeling risky, just fight back. Throw some hands. So that is gonna end tip 1. Tip number 2, pre-compose. This is probably going to be one of the easiest ways to break into the world of street photography. Hopping into voiceover now. You can see here this dude smoking a cigarette. One of the shots I really wanted, and one of the shots I had in my mind this whole time I was here, was I wanted someone blowing a cloud of smoke. I don't know, I just think it looks cool, especially in street photography, just candids. So you see here, I noticed a guy with a cigarette, and I'm going to wait here. He doesn't notice me the whole time, so I just kind of wait out of his view, off to the side, waiting for him to take a hit and blow the cloud into the air. And as he's doing that, I am getting ready with my burst setting, and I just shoot, and then I just walk away right at the end. Another example is this person walking right here in between the arches. I saw the person walking and I followed them kind of far behind. I cut outside the arches because I knew the arches would be an interesting composition. I waited for them to walk into the middle, and then I just shot and continued moving. Tip number 3, pick a style. Alright, so picking a style is kind of something different when it comes to street photography. For me, they pretty much coincide with what I normally shoot. I am a portrait photographer, so when I shoot street photos, I'm mostly going for portraits, but I know in the world of street photography, some people are more into architectural street photography, not really capturing the faces of your subjects, but I go for the opposite on that. So picking a style is really important because that determines the kind of stuff you bring with you on a shoot. Normally when I go and do street photos, I try to limit what I bring just so it's easier to move. Yeah, bonus tip, lose the camera bag. If you're in a bad part of town, that just makes you an easy target for robbing. Also, it really limits your range of movement and how much you can shoot. So lose the bag, and now back to tip number 3. I shot most of this video with an 85mm lens. This really crops in everything, gets me a nice range, so I don't have to get right up in the face of my subject, but I still get a decent view of their face. If you wanted to shoot more architectural, I'd say go with a wider lens like a 24-70 or 35. Also, shoot at a high f-stop, that way you don't miss focus. This is something I learned the hard way. A lot of these shots are out of focus because I was shooting at 1.8 to let in lots of light because it was dark and I just like how the bokeh looks. But yeah, don't go for bokeh when it comes to street photos unless that's your style. I'm not gonna judge, but it's gonna be a lot easier to get focus and not miss it if you're shooting at something like f8 or higher. Alright, I'm gonna hit y'all with a bonus tip and another bonus tip and kind of a life lesson / just me ranting a little bit. So bonus tip is know the laws in your area when it comes to street photography. Pretty much across the USA, in most places, as long as you are in a public space and you can see it from a public space, then you are okay to shoot there. No one can make you delete anything, but sometimes it's better to just cooperate and delete your footage if they're gonna hassle you about it and be aggressive. But legally you are allowed to take photos anywhere in the United States as long as you are on public property or you can see it from public property. So if someone has like huge windows and they're open and you're on the street and you can see them inside, you are legally allowed to shoot them. I'm gonna stop saying shoot because that sounds bad. Photograph. So yeah, a lot of the times people will get angry. Not a lot of the time. Sometimes in certain places of the world people get angry that you're taking photos of them, especially if they're in something like a restaurant or a Starbucks, but all of that's public property. So if someone gets mad at you for that, you don't have to delete footage. You can pretend to delete footage or photos, but you're legally not required to. So just try to know your rules when it comes to that. That way you can argue those back. If they're not listening, just delete it and move on. It's just going to be easier for you in the long run, even if it's like a nice shot. Sometimes it's better to just cooperate than it is to fight. Also, just like ranting, life tip about street photography is it's like a real sensitive subject for some people, because a lot of the times the people you're going to be working with in street photography as subjects are probably going to be homeless in most parts of the United States. So that's just a real sensitive issue, and although you are technically allowed to photograph them, you also need to know your boundaries and not invade on their privacy. Oftentimes I try to keep their faces out of the photos. Sometimes more emotion is shown with their face in the photo and it's better, but yeah, so just generally try to respect people's privacy and don't invade on them. But yeah, quick summary. Tip 1, nobody cares. Tip 2, pre-compose, and tip 3, pick a style. That's gonna be all for today. Sorry this video took like 3 weeks to come out. It was supposed to come out like 3 weeks ago. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe, and never stop creating. Last bonus tip. I forgot to mention this in the video, but it was one of the tips that I meant to write down and tell you, but I forgot to write it down, so I forgot to say it. Last tip, use your screen, especially on the Z6 and any Nikon camera. Pretty much every single camera has a pivoting screen. Hold your camera like chest or waist level, just look down at it and shoot. You don't have to hold it up to your eyes, so it won't even look like you're taking a picture. I did this a lot during a lot of these photos that you're seeing right now, especially indoors. Just hold it down here, have your phone out or something, and then just click the shutter button with like your knuckle while you're on your phone. People aren't gonna know you're taking pictures of them. Or if you're on something like a Nikon Z6, they have touchscreen shutter, so just tap on the screen wherever you want your focus to go, and it also takes the picture. So you could do something like that and no one's gonna know you're taking pictures of them. And that's it.